Good morning, everybody. We're here to help you get some information on some technology. Thank you everybody for joining us for our ECCA 10th anniversary celebration. We're excited to see and recognize all of our attendees all over the world. And we're here, and my name is David Frelke. I'm with my co-host, Sarah Perez. Sarah, wave so you're my co-host. My session is Restorative Circle with the Zoom Breakout Rooms. And it will end promptly at 10:50. And we want to make sure we start and stop so we can get to the next session on time. If you have any questions during this presentation, please enter the chat and enter your towards the end of the session, about 10:40, I will give the presenter a 10-minute warning and allow them to wrap up for a few questions. And at the end, I'll also give a super secret word. That's for your certificate. Make sure you get that word down. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you will not get credit. It says, my pleasure to introduce Allison Russ, Nikki Kelley, and Demetria Bryant. The floor is yours.
All right. Good morning to everybody. I am Nikki Jones-Kelley. I am a counselor at Teague Middle School, and I'll let the other two ladies introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Cormier-Russ. I'm super excited to be with you today. Thank you for taking out your time with us. I work on the illustrious team of these ladies at Teague Middle School.
Good morning. I'm Demetria Bryant. I'm happy to be here. I'll be in the background on the chat. So if you have any questions, I'll be here answering the chat.
Also, we have to give a shout out to our very own Diane Wilson, excuse me. We just left her session with her twin sister. Shout out to her. She is a part of this team, but she is here as support today. So we are letting our very own Nikki Jones-Kelley take the lead today, and we will be helping her as she goes through the presentation. So again, thank you guys for coming.
All right, guys. So we do have an unregistered guest here with us, my daughter, Willow. Hopefully she will cooperate throughout this presentation, but we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So we're going to be talking about restorative circles using breakout rooms. Just to give a little bit of background on restorative circles really didn't hit big with me until this school year. I had heard about restorative circles being implemented in other school districts, but had no idea really what a restorative circle was. We know that right now we're definitely dealing with some unprecedented times. We have some kids on campus. We have some kids that are learning virtually. And restorative circles are a way to be able to build that community with our students and our staff members. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start. And we're going to start with our agenda. So once again, we welcome you guys to our session. We hope that you enjoy it. So the purpose of, we're going to do the purpose. We're going to do a check-in. We are going to do a mindfulness moment. We're going to do the norms and agreements. We're going to do the introduction of the talking piece, the opening ceremony, the circle, and the closing ceremony. So although we're not really able to run a circle today, we're just going to go through the mechanics of a restorative circle so that you can understand how you can run a restorative circle through Zoom or through Google Meets, and even face-to-face. So the purpose of a restorative circle is it builds a sense of community. We all know that we all come from different backgrounds. We come from different places. We're dealing with different things. We have new staff members on our campuses. We have new students on our campuses. We've all been through some things that everybody may not know that we experienced over these last 8 months. So restorative circles are important because it builds a sense of community and it allows for opportunity for growth. When I say it allows for opportunity for growth, restorative circles can be uncomfortable at times. There can be some things that are shared within the circle that are difficult for you to take in, but it's for you to be able to take that as an opportunity for growth. And I know that I can personally say that myself and my counseling team members, we do have restorative circles with one another, and they're not always pretty. There have been some tears. There's been some frustrations, but through that, it's given us the opportunity to grow. It allows you to have stronger communication. We know that, I know at least that being a middle school counselor, it's important to teach our students and even our staff members how to communicate properly with one another and how to accept what the other person is saying without being offended. But the person that's saying it has to know how to communicate that properly with that person so that person can be receptive to receiving that. And the major thing of the circle is you get to experience the circle. Being within the circle is amazing. Like I said, it has done some great things for me that I didn't think that I would do, and even some things that I didn't think that I would say. But because that circle has built that sense of community, it makes those uncomfortable situations where you have something that you need to say to someone more comfortable. So usually when we begin a circle, we do a check-in, and you could actually take part in this check-in today if you'd like. So I'm using today the traffic lights. So I'm using the green light, the red light, and the yellow light. So I want you to think about how you're feeling in this present moment, and especially as you're sitting in this session and we're talking about restorative circles. You may be that green person, that ready, set, go, like, hey, I'm ready to take in all the information you're ready to give me, and I'm ready to go back and I'm ready to implement this on my campus, and I'm ready to see the work that the circle is going to do. You may be that red light. You may be that person that says, you know what, just stop. I'm already dealing with Schoology. I'm already dealing with face-to-face. I'm already dealing with having to upload lessons through Schoology. I'm already having to deal with making sure I meet the needs of my students within my classroom. It's just a lot. I just don't think this is something that I can do. And that's okay. And then you may be that yellow traffic light. You may be that person that says, you know what? Things just need to slow down. There's a lot coming at me right now. If things could just slow down, then it may be something I can do. I can sit here, I can be involved in the conversation or the session of restorative circles, and it may be something that I can implement. So usually we would start with the check-in, and that's just to gauge the circle. That's to see where everyone is at that present moment.
So I see some greens in here. I see Catherine says, slow down, but working towards a ready, set, go. Some ready, set, go. So we have a room that's ready and willing and ready to take what the day is giving us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Russ, because I can't see any of that. I just see the presentation. Okay, so from there, we would then go into a mindfulness moment. And we know this is another big word that we're hearing these days. We're hearing restorative circles. We're hearing mindfulness. This is the opportunity for everyone within the circle to just take the time to just stop and be aware of where you are. And I can very quickly just give you a few mindfulness moments that you can do with the group. One simple one is deep breathing techniques, where you may have them breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 7, breathe out for 7, or however many seconds you choose. But you just allow that person to get in that comfortable position in their seat. You invite them to close their eyes and they do some deep breathing. There's also a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindfulness activity where you focus on, and I may have these out of order because I don't know them off the top of my head, but you have them focus on 5 things that they can see. And yes, their eyes are closed, but maybe it's something that they can see in the room. Maybe it's something that they see in their home. Maybe it's something that they can just see. It could be the ocean. It could be the sun. It could be their children. So, and then you have them to focus on 4 things that they hear. So it could be the sound of the AC running. Like right now, I hear my daughter, she's smacking her lips. Like that's something that I'm hearing right now in my present moment. And then the third thing could be 3 things that you can feel. So I feel my feet planted on the floor. I feel my back resting in my chair. I feel the breeze of the wind. Then you go into 2 things that you can smell. So maybe you can smell the coffee that was brewing, or maybe you can smell the coming of rain. And then 1 would be what you can taste. So maybe you just got through drinking some coffee or chewing some gum, or eating something and you still have that taste in your mouth. Another mindfulness moment is the sound of a bell that you can actually find on YouTube that allows you, the persons in the circle, to focus on the sound of the bell until it completely fades out. So those are just a few examples of being in that mindfulness moment and centering yourself, because what that does, it gets everyone to be a part of that circle and be in that present moment, and to remove all of that other stuff from your mind. And once you finish that mindfulness moment, you invite everybody back to the circle within that space. Okay, so norms and agreements of restorative circle. First thing is to respect the talking piece. That is something that we will talk about in a few minutes. The second thing is to speak from your heart. That means to speak from what you're feeling. Whatever you're feeling, speak from that. Thirdly, listen with your heart. So that means that I'm listening to someone speak from their heart, and I'm recognizing that they're feeling some type of way. Also, speak with respect. That's so important in a restorative circle, is to speak with respect, that although, yes, this what I'm getting ready to share with you may not be a positive, it may be an area of growth, but I'm going to say it respectfully. You also want to listen with respect, because you want to receive what someone within the circle is sharing with you. You want to honor the privacy of the circle, meaning that the things that we share within the circle stay within the circle. We want to bring our best selves to the circle. One thing that my counseling team and we realized that it's hard to start a circle with a group of persons and then other persons then become a part of that circle. It almost kind of changes the dynamics of the circle. So it may be best to keep the circle the same. Meaning you may have to run 1 or 2 circles, but to keep the persons within that circle, and let them know that your participation is important. You being here on time is important. You being a part of the circle is important. So if someone wants to join in the circle, then you may have to say to them, we've been within this circle for the past few weeks. I can, let you know when I'll be starting a new circle, because you want to honor that privacy and for everyone to know that this circle is consistent. The same people will come to this circle. Okay, so the talking piece. So, when we think of a restorative circle virtually, usually if it were a face-to-face circle and if we were not dealing with the global pandemic of COVID, you would have something that will be passed around, meaning that if you do not have the talking piece, you're not able to talk at that time. So the talking piece allows you to talk. Virtually, most people, of course, have their cell phones. So you can use your cell phone as the talking piece, or whatever that person may have that's near them as the talking piece. So you want to really hone in on that. The talking piece allows you to talk. If you don't have the talking piece, you're not able to talk at that time. Okay.
Also, guys, some other ideas to use different talking pieces are the reactions in the Zoom room. So some of them, you have a thumbs up, you have a smiley face, you have a wave. And so just depending on what you want to use as your talking piece, especially if everyone's cameras are not going to be on, but they want to be a part, because as Ms. Kelley was stating, it's very difficult sometimes with the subject matters when you begin a circle, and some people are not comfortable with being on camera, but they want to be a part. And so your cell phone is good when your camera is on, but make sure that you use those reactions as well, just in case you have participants in the circle that are not willing to be on camera but wanting to be a part of the circle. We don't knock people who don't want to be on camera. We just invite them to do that, because again, sometimes this work can be very difficult sometimes the work is uncomfortable. And we invite them to turn on the cameras, but in the event that they don't, make sure you provide options for your participants so that we can invite them, and eventually they may get to a space to where they are comfortable enough to turn on that camera so that they can use the piece like that.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Russ, for sharing that. And like she says, we have to realize that restorative circles are new for a lot of us. So like she's saying, we don't want to make demands as it relates to the camera, but we do want to invite them to utilize their camera. And like she said, there are different things that you can use in Zoom to be able to use as the talking piece. Okay. So usually when you have shared your norms and you've shared your agreements and you discussed the tool, the talking piece, and how that will be used, most times when I do a restorative circle, I open the restorative circle with some type of quote. And this is just a really great quote that just really resonated with me that I wanted to share with you guys. And it says, "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." Because I know that restorative circles are so deeply rooted in community and relationships. This just really resonated with me, and saying that these are some things that we take for granted that someone may actually need. They may need a smile. They may need a kind word. They may just need you to listen, or just the smallest act of showing that you care. You'd be surprised what that will do for a person. So, I open with a quote. You don't have to open with a quote. You may open up with, hey guys, we're going to be doing restorative circles, and, giving your reason why you're going to be doing the restorative circle, whether it's within your classroom with your students or if it's with your staff members. So this is a part of the opening ceremony. There's also what we have is the mantra. So the mantra is something that is repeated every time you start a circle. So whenever you get to the opening ceremony of your circle, you will say this, and those persons within the circle will repeat after you in saying this, because this is an agreement. This is a non-negotiable that we're saying that if we're a part of this circle, we're going to do our best to do these things. So the mantra is, in this circle, I will do my best to see you, hear you, and understand you. And that's something that you may want to really hone in on with your students is, I'm going to do my best to see you, meaning I'm going to do my best to acknowledge you and that you're here. I'm going to do my best in hearing you, meaning that I'm going to listen with my heart. I'm going to listen and know that you're entitled to how you feel. You're entitled to your opinion. And I'm going to do my best to understand you. Although it may be uncomfortable, I'm going to know that I have to be able to understand you, because I may share something with you that may make you uncomfortable, and I would expect the same from you. So you want to make sure that you do this mantra every time you start your circle. So then you get into the really good part of it, which is the circle. So I have actually written down 2 effective sentences. So there are 2 different things that you can do when you first start your circle. I would highly recommend that you first start your circles with the 7 core assumptions. These are things that we as humans believe to be true. So this is where you would have these core assumptions. They may be on the floor under each chair. They may be face down in the seats. But when I've done it with a restorative circle, I put it under the chair so it doesn't become a distraction until we start the actual circle. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the 7 core assumptions, and I would love for you guys to participate in the chat room, because I would love to hear what core assumption or assumptions really resonate with you. The first one is
Ms. Kelley, right before you start, because we're not in a physical setting, I wanted to bring the technology aspect of that. So when you're doing a circle on Zoom, you can, and I know we're going to talk about breakout rooms in a bit, but I just wanted to say, because you can't have the papers physically underneath your chairs, what you would do for Zoom and virtually, you would just make sure that you have that on the banner. So just like you can see our banner here, the circle, you would have the 7 core assumptions, and then you would bring them up, and then you would give maybe a 2 to 3 minute wait time for your participants to see which one resonates with them. And so we're getting ready to kind of model what a circle is, and we want you guys to participate in the chat room and chat box with us to see which one resonates with you. So this is kind of like a model of the circle. One of the things when you have your circle, and like I said, I know we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but it's important to know who your audience is. And so if you're familiar with the group of people that you are working with, it's important to make sure that when you start grouping your participants, that you group them in a way that you believe that is going to be beneficial for the group members. Because remember that when we go into restorative circles, it's to restore, hence restorative circles. And so that means that there may be something that's off, and it doesn't have to be the most egregious thing, but it could be something just simple as communication within the group. And so when you do your circles on in a virtual setting, we don't recommend those numbers be higher than 25. We really recommend between 6 to 10, because in order to really do the work and in order to see the work come out and see the effects of what the circle can do for your group, you want to keep it small so you can build that sense of community like Miss Kelley was sharing. And so in that regard, we would just put it on the screen. Okay, sorry, Miss Kelley, you could go ahead.
No, you're fine. So I've put the 7 core assumptions on the screen for you to see right now. And we'll give you those 2 to 3 minutes to look over the 7 core assumptions and to share out in the chat room what core assumption resonates with you. And this is what you would do for your first restorative circle to, see what those persons believe to be true. So we'll give you about 2 to 3 minutes to look at these 7 core assumptions, and just in the chat room, just share out which one resonates with you. And Ms. Russ, you can let me know if you see anything going in the chat room as it relates to who's sharing out which core assumption resonates with them.
We'll do. Okay. We have Catherine, who says number 5, everything we need to make a positive change is already here. We have Ms. Stephanie Hall, who says number 4, all human beings have gifts and everyone is needed for what they bring. Ms. Carla Smith, number 3, all human beings have a deep desire to be in a good relationship. Ms. Ashley Young, number 6, human beings are holistic. We have Ms. Terry Julian, number 4, again, all human beings have gifts. Let's see here, Ms. Blanca, 5, everything we need to make a positive change is here. I miss Ms. Wilson's. Okay, Ms. Wilson, number 4, everyone has something to add that we all need. Ms. Collier, our director, thank you for being here. Number 4, all human beings have gifts. And then Ms. Dunn said number 1. Ms. Dunn, that's actually my favorite too. Number 1, that the true self in everyone is good, wise, and powerful. Ms. Pace shared number 3, all human beings have a deep desire to be in a good relationship.
Yes.
Absolutely. And this is a good starter because Ms. Lermer said number 4 as well, all human beings have gifts. This is a good starter because based on what your core assumption is, it kind of gives you a peek into that person a little bit. Although we don't know each other personally, or we don't, we're not with these people every day, when they share their core assumption, it kind of gives you insight maybe to how you see them react to things, or how you see them plan or communicate. The core assumptions, it's holistic, and it helps everyone to be able to connect in a certain capacity.
Right. And the ones that really are near and dear to me, I actually have 2 or 4 and 5, which, we all have gifts, and everyone is needed, and everything we need to make a positive change is already here. And that is true what Ms. Russ is saying, that, you can get to know a little bit about a person based on what their core assumption is. So this is a great way to start your restorative circles, to kind of get a little bit of some lens work in, to see and get to know those within the circle.
Yes.
Another way to work within the circle is with affective sentences. And usually you would start with affective sentences that aren't as deep and as intense. You will start very mild, and then gradually go deeper and deeper as you work within your circles. And I have 2 affective sentences that we can work with, just to kind of see what it would look like within a circle. And, once everyone is, has shared their 7 core assumptions, that then gives the circle and those within the circle the opportunity to say something, to respond to maybe what someone said, or to say, I feel that same way, or, I never thought about it like that. So you want to give those within the circle the opportunity to, yes, I've shared my core assumptions, but they may want to share out what they heard. So the first affective sentence I have, it says, at this moment, I feel. So when you give that affective sentence, you would go around the circle and everyone would say, at this moment, I feel, and they would share how they feel. So I want you guys to utilize the chat room for me again. And I want you to just share out using that affective sentence, at this moment, I feel. And Ms. Russ can look, her and Ms. Bryan can look in the chat room and see what it is that's being shared based on that affective sentence.
And Ms. Kelley, I just wanted to address Ms. Phillips's question. She had a question. She said, how would you use these core assumptions with kindergarten, which is a great question.
So when we think about the 7 core assumptions, of course, what I just showed to you is not what I would show to a kindergartner. It may be where you have to modify the document, meaning you may have to create your own. So, and I'm a very visual person, and I've worked with primary grade levels. So let's just take the first one, the true self in everyone is good, wise, and powerful. So you may show a person that is doing good. You may show something that they would know as being good, or the world is interconnected. You may show a picture of, the world. And then, the one about deep desires with being in good relationships, you could show some type of relationship, whether it's a teacher and a student or a parent and their child. But I would make it almost into pictures, make it more visual for them to say what is important to me. That's how I would do it for those smaller grade levels, or those smaller age grades.
So
we have some comments in the chat.
So we have some individuals that have already started responding at this moment. So let's see, it says, at this moment, Ms. Julian said, I feel excited about the information you guys are sharing. Thank you, Ms. Julian. Ms. let's see here. Miss Pace said, I feel hopeful. Miss Kelley said, tired but encouraged. Miss Larkin said, at this moment, overwhelmed. I could definitely understand that. Miss Hall said, at this moment, I feel empowered. Miss Wilson says, I feel energized and inspired. Ms. Fangley said, I feel happy to be attending the TCCA 2020 and thoroughly enjoying Restorative Circle with Zoom Breakout Rooms. Thank you. Ms. Lerma said, at this moment, I feel calm. Ms. Dunn said, at this moment, I feel creative about incorporating this information into future groups. And Ms. Young said, at this moment, I feel optimistic about utilizing Restorative Circles on my campus. That's awesome.
I want to go back to the person that they said at this moment I feel, and they said overwhelmed, and I can understand that. One thing that we've realized on our campus is that in doing restorative circles with our teachers, it has given them a platform to release some things. We all know that, you know, education is very different now. It's not what we would have expected. We were expecting to go back into a normal school year after spring break, and that didn't happen. So if we have any administrators in our session, restorative circles are not just for our students, but they are for our staff members as well, because it gives everyone that platform to be able to share those things that they're feeling in a positive way, although it may be uncomfortable, and building that sense of community. So I would urge those administrators to do that with their staff members and then implement that across your buildings with your students.
Yes.
So the second affective sentence that I have, and this will be the last one, is I feel my best when. So I feel my best when. And we're going to see what everyone is going to put in the chat room in using that affective sentence. And you got
that at this moment, I feel blessed to be able to learn and help others. Ms. Larkin says, thank you for addressing this. Ms. Kelley said, when I make others happy. Ms. Wilson, our team member, says, when I am in uncomfortable situations, because that is where I learn and grow. Definitely agree with that. Yes. Ms. Dunn says, I feel my best when I can help others. Ms. Bryant says, our team member, I feel my best when I can help others as well.
So those, I mean,
Kelley,
go ahead.
When do you feel your best?
I feel my best. I can go back to what Ms. Wilson said. I feel my best when I am put in those uncomfortable situations, because it does give me the opportunity to grow. But I also feel my best when I'm able to do restorative circles. I love restorative circles, and just being introduced to them, it to me, it does something. It does something.
Kelley is our restorative guru. We've been in the work this week of restorative with one of our core teams on campus, and it has been great. Ms. Hall says she feels her best when she's interacting with her scholars. Ms. Fangley said, I feel my best when I'm inspired. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Ms. Young says, when she's been outside to breathe and after affirming myself and who I am. That's awesome, Ms. Young. Ms. Lerma said, when I'm able to support others. Ms. Pace says, when she can help others. Ms. Larkin says she feels her best when she's encouraged. And Ms. Bryan is saying this is your calling. I would have to agree pretty much what the room is saying, and it seems like there's a consensus when we are able to give of ourselves, when we are able to help each other, when we know that we are laying it all on the table. that's when we are filled. We have a shirt, our team has a shirt that says, "What's your battery life?" And it has 4 batteries on it. Miss Kelley actually has it on. And so there's a green one that you're full to the top, the yellow where you're losing some of the energy, the blue when you have 2 bars left, and then the red when you're getting ready to die. And the thing about it is that it is our goal. It is our goal that when we go to work, we're putting it all on the table. We start at a green. By the time we're out of there, we're probably on the red just because we've given of ourselves. And that's what this work is about. That's what restorative is about, making sure that we as leaders, and you don't have to be a counselor to be a restorative person or to do restorative circles. You can be a teacher, a counselor, an administrator, a skills, a director of something. But when you involve yourself in the work of restorative, it really builds a sense of family, of community, of better communication. And we know that when we are at our best, we give our students our best. And that's what this is all about, being able to give our students our best.
And I have to say that in doing those restorative circles yesterday with one of our core subjects, it really opened my eyes to where some of our teachers are coming from before getting to work. And like at this moment, I feel is so powerful to me because it gives you that lens to see how people are really feeling. And you really want people to know that you want them to be vulnerable in the circle. If we don't have vulnerability within the circle, then we're not doing the work of the circle. We're just meeting and we're just talking. But we want those persons to know we want you to be vulnerable. And we know that we have to, of course, build that sense of community and establish those relationships and making it where those within the circle feel that they can be vulnerable. And sometimes it takes you, the person that has organized a circle, to be that one to be vulnerable and really say, at this moment, I feel, and really tell how you feel. So those are 2 things that you can do in working within the circle. But I would highly recommend that you start with the 7 core assumptions. And then based on, if you're doing it with your students and whatever age range they are, simplifying it for them. And then just that way, it helps you to get to know a person a little bit more. So once you've experienced the circle, then you do your closing ceremony. You can close your ceremony with a quote. You can close your ceremony with, okay, give me 1 word of telling me how you feel now. It's almost like a checkout that we've had the circle. So in our closing ceremony, I want you to tell me one thing that you can take away from this experience. It wasn't the type of circle that I would have wanted it to be, but we went through the mechanics of it and we did do some parts of the circle. But tell us what's one takeaway from this experience in the chat room.
I just want to interrupt for a second. This is a 10-minute warning, so you have 10 minutes to go. And I've noticed you've been answering questions along the way, so I'm going to let you go ahead and keep on going 7 more minutes. So if that's okay with you, I'll break in towards the end. And just remind the audience that the secret word of the day is inspire, capital I for inspire.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Guys, don't forget that the secret word is inspired to be able to get your certificate from the session. We have a few more minutes in here. And so at this time, we're talking about the one takeaway from the experience. Ms. Kelley says that to begin healing. Ms. Valenzuela said inspire others. Ms. Kelley said it's okay to be vulnerable. Ms. Julian said that everyone has their own issues. We have to meet people where they are. Yes. Ms. Hall said that the session helped her to be able to better support her scholars. That's awesome. that we are doing this with our students. This is what Ms. Pace is saying. We need to start doing this with our staff. Absolutely, so that they can give more of themselves. Ms. Family said to heal, inspire, have compassion for everyone's traffic light, whether it's red, green, or yellow. Awesome. Yes. Okay. While everyone's still typing in there, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the breakout rooms, because that was the end of that part. I wanted to talk about the breakout rooms. So there's two ways to use breakout rooms with Zoom. So if you know your audience and you want to strategically place your participants in different rooms, the Zoom gives you the ability to go ahead and pre-select who you want in what room and when you want them in that room. Or if it's a new group and you just want to select randomly, it gives you the option to do that. And one of the things, as the host of Zoom, you being the host can go into every room that you've created just to hear what they're talking about, so that when you come back to the main room, you can all share out some of those things that you talked about in the specific breakout rooms. The breakout rooms can be as vast as 10 or 12 or 17. We did this with our staff at the beginning of the year, and I want to say it was about 135 of us, and we were able to have, I want to say, maybe 12 rooms. So it just depends on how many breakout rooms you want. It depends on how big you want your circle. So those are some things to keep in mind. Zoom has allotted a lot of vulnerability in people, because things that people would not say face to face, they would say on a computer, because they're not in that space with the people that they need to say things that may be uncomfortable to. And so it's a great tool. Miss Kelley, did you put our information at the end just in case people have questions?
I didn't, but I can pull something up to do that. And I do apologize, because I did have a slide in here about breakout rooms. I'm just not sure where it went. And just another thing to add. So when you do your breakout rooms, you're able to also choose the amount of time spent in the breakout room. And if you're in the breakout room, it counts down and it says you have 1 minute left in the breakout room, and then it'll say you have 30 seconds left. And once the seconds are up, it then brings everybody back into the main room. You'll click on return to main room, and it'll take you back into the main room where everyone else was. While you continue talking, Ms. Russ, I can also put that in here of our contact information.
Okay. Ms. Larkin says she will use this as a reflection and use for an exit question for the students and staff in Zoom meetings. Yeah, it's a great tool. Does anybody have any questions? Please place it in the chat, and we'll answer it while Ms. Kelley is putting our contact information in. Are there any questions about, maybe the order of any virtual questions with that? Thank you so much, Ms. Carla Smith. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Julian. Any other questions? Ms. Kelley's contact information is in the chat room. Thank you, Ms. Larmer, for coming. We have a few more minutes for any questions. Ms. Manuel, thank you as well for coming. Okay. Well, Ms. Kelley, if you want to go ahead and close us out, I don't see that we have any questions, just any final tips or anything like that, because I think we're about done. Yes.
Did someone say something?
No, I was just asking if you wanted to close out, because we don't have any other questions.
Oh, we don't have any questions. Did I really do that well?
No, we were answering as we were going.
Ooh, hey. Yes, I did put our contact information on the screen. If you have any additional questions outside of this session, you can email us. I hope that you guys enjoyed this session on restorative circles and utilizing breakout rooms. I would urge you to do this on your campuses. I would urge you to do this with your staff members and with your students, and building that sense of community and those relationships. As we know, like I keep saying, we're dealing with something that we would have never expected to be dealing with, and we have to bring back that sense of community and that sense of relationships, because so many things have happened to our students and our staff members outside of the school setting that we may not know about. And restorative circles just gives that opportunity for that community and that platform to speak out. Because if you think about it, some of our kids aren't able to go home and share their concerns and how they feel. It may be us that will have to allow that to happen through a restorative circle. And then allowing our teachers to be vulnerable and, carrying out, and giving them that opportunity to recognize that, yes, we do hear you. We hear you. We care. We're working alongside you. We're going to do the very best we can to support you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this session. I hope you enjoy the rest of the TCCA conference. And I thank you so much for coming.
Don't forget that word is inspired, guys, with a capital I.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and preparation and sharing your experience with us. And remember, attendees, don't forget Inspire, capital I for Inspire. And remember, next session is at 11 o'clock. See you there. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.